Alright folks, welcome to our next video. This is 4E and 4F. So we're talking about Qin China, 4E, and then Confucianism and Taoism, 4F. So we do have a lot to get to, a lot of stuff in this particular video, so let's get to it. Okay, first things first, we see a picture of China here, and we see these different dynasties and kind of the time periods when they ruled. So we do know that China had like the Mandate of Heaven and the dynastic cycle. We're going to go into that more today. That should be review. One quick thing right off the bat. I just want to point out this right here, okay, is called the Taklamakan Desert. And I believe Mr. Nolan may have mentioned this in the last video. In fact, I know he mentioned it. Unfortunately, he mentioned the wrong name. He called it the Tasmanian Devil. So that's the Tasmanian Devil, okay? Tasmanian Devil right here. This is the Taklamakan Desert. So I think it was just a pronunciation error. Tasmanian Devil, Taklamakan Desert. So don't get those two confused. Now, if you see Mr. Nolan in the hallways, or if you see him in class, just make sure to mention that this right here is the alphabet. And when you arrange these letters in different orders, different sounds come out of your mouth. So it's very key to understand that. Let's make sure he understands that, and let's get into Qin China. Alright, so here we go. The Great Wall of China. On your notes, I believe I asked you to make a map, drawing where it is. It's basically right across the top of China here, okay, basically just like that, right near the Huanghe River, okay, and then we asked you to kind of draw the Huanghe River yet again, and it should look something like that. Okay, so the Great Wall is in northern China. And it was created by this guy named Shi Huangdi. Qin Shi Huangdi. So emperor of the Qin dynasty. And his name is Shi Huangdi. He looks like a pretty angry guy, right? Very angry guy. And he is an angry guy, and we're going to talk about why. So, around 221 BCE. Okay, 221 BCE. The Qin dynasty will replace the Zhou dynasty. Okay. And Shi Huangdi is going to be the unifier. He's going to be the most important leader. He's going to be the guy that kind of unifies China under the Qin dynasty. He's going to do this aggressively, okay, militarily. By unify, we basically mean take over. Okay, and he's going to establish a brutal autocracy. Autocracy means like the government is very brutal and they kind of enforce their ways very strictly. Now he's going to destroy philosophical books. Okay, excuse my pronunciation there. Pot calling the kettle black, as they say. Now, these philosophical books are going to have different viewpoints, and they're going to be destroyed. So anyone who didn't agree with Shi Huangdi, he gets, basically removed. Okay, so if you don't agree with him, you're going to get removed. Now, this kind of idea represents the philosophy of what's called legalism. Now, this isn't in your notes, so you don't have to know this, but it's just something to know. Okay, it's a philosophy based on realism, rulers maintaining power, and kind of having political stability. So that stability is more important than maybe like kind of the rights of the individual. It's a little bit complicated, but we're not going to go too much into it. So the wall, Great Wall of China, it was built mainly to protect against invaders from the north. So China on that map has invaders coming in from the north. Remember, we have that Taklamakan Desert to the west, so there's not going to be a lot of invaders coming from that way. And we have the ocean, okay, East China, South China Sea to the east and south, so you're not going to have invaders coming that way. So invaders come from the north. Now, how was it built? It was built by forced unpaid labor. Okay, so Shi Huangdi forced many peasants to build this wall for him. Many died during the building of this wall. It's a huge project. He didn't feed them, okay, maybe as much as he should have. He didn't give them living conditions that were maybe appropriate, and many died and were actually buried inside the wall. Okay, you can see it, not from like outer space, but you can see it from the upper layers of the atmosphere. And I think it's better to just show you, so I'm going to show you this quick video, everything you need to know about the Great Wall, just 1 or 2 minutes here. Alright, so we're back here. So yeah, the wall, definitely, as you can see from the video there, very beautiful place. It would be nice if it would be easier to go visit China, as tourists. It's not necessarily the easiest thing right now, given China's government, but we're not going to get into that. So that's more on the wall. Okay, after the wall is constructed, shortly after this, they're going to remove Shi Huangdi from power. Okay, he's going to die, and his son is going to have kind of a weak rule. They're going to remove the Qin dynasty. This is going to lead to the Han dynasty coming into power. Okay, and this basically is the golden age of China, the Han dynasty, but we're not going to go too much into them. Alright, so the mandate of heaven, this should be review, but here we go. Chinese rulers are considered to be divine. Okay, so they rule through what's called the mandate of heaven. This means that the rulers or the emperors get their power directly from the gods. So if they're representatives of the gods, then if bad things start happening, disasters, troubled times, famines, etc., if bad things start happening, that means the gods are not happy with the emperor, okay, because the emperor rules through the gods. So if the gods are showing they're unhappy, the emperor must not be doing his job well. This leads to a change in the dynasty, and a new dynasty is going to come take its place. This is referred to as the dynastic cycle. Okay, so a dynasty can lose the mandate of heaven by not ruling justly, by having disasters, by doing bad things. They can lose the mandate of heaven and a new dynasty can replace them. This is referred to as a dynastic cycle. And this is just a brief little picture here of the dynastic cycle, kind of showing how it works. You can pause it here if you want and kind of get more in depth with it. I'm going to move on. So the key contributions of the Qin and of classical China, okay, a civil service system. So this is big. So civil service system means that the government employs their officials based on merit. So you have to take a test, a written exam of some sort, and then they will place you where they think you're the best. So it's not just whoever's family is the most powerful gets to be the government now. Now anyone can be in the government as long as you are qualified. Sounds like a good idea, right? Now, paper. It's going to be used for writing. Porcelain is used in pottery. This is just kind of what porcelain is. You might have seen, you might have heard of China, Chinaware, fine china. That's kind of where the term comes from, this porcelain that's used in pottery. And then silk is used in clothing and other textiles. Now, China trades along the Silk Road, which goes all the way through Asia. Okay, it's a combination of all these trade routes that go from China in the east through India, okay, through India here, through the Middle East, into Egypt, North Africa, and then into Greece and Rome, and even Europe. Okay, this is known as the Silk Road. Goods and ideas flow from east to west. In the east, we have silk, porcelain, paper, those types of goods going that way. And then in going east, we have certainly ideas. Okay, we have more technology. We have textiles made in India, made in the Middle East. Okay. Now, quickly, Taoism and Confucianism in China. These are two more philosophies. Also, some people think they're religions as well. So we're going to kind of call them religions in this class. Alright, this is Confucius. He's the head of Confucianism. Okay, he kind of starts Confucianism. Obviously, his name's Confucius. Alright, so Confucius believed in humanism. Okay, this means that humans are teachable, improvable, and perfectible. Okay, through personal and communal endeavor. There's no belief in a supernatural being with Confucianism. So Confucianism is all about, okay, relationships. Okay, so each individual person has a relationship. You have a relationship with your father. Okay, father and son, son and son, brother and brother. Okay, mother and son. Okay, ruler and ruled. All of these relationships show that humans are teachable and improvable, and the way you act in these relationships shows how you're going to act, okay, and it's going to show how you can become a better person that way, if you act according to the way you're supposed to. Now, the impact of Confucianism on China. Okay, humans are good, not bad. This is what the beliefs of Confucianism is. Okay, respect for your elders. Remember those relationships I talked about? Alright, father and son, one of the most important relationships. Okay, old and young, another relationship. Always respect your elders. There's a code of politeness. Okay, because every person has a role in a relationship, you have to be polite in that relationship. And then there's an emphasis on education and study, as well as ancestor worship. And this kind of relates back to this, and also back to respecting your elders. Okay, so ancestors means the older people that have like died. Maybe your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, all the people that came before you that kind of paved the path to how you're going to live. Alright, moving on to Taoism. Okay, this is a guy named Lao Tzu. Okay, you might also see Lao Tzu. Alright, Lao Tzu. Now, Taoism comes about right around the same time as Confucianism, roughly. Okay, and Taoism means living in harmony with the way or the path. Okay, so the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Okay, so Taoism is kind of like a philosophy on life. Okay, live according to the way, live according to nature, live according to the path. Okay, have compassion, have moderation, and have humility. Okay, and they believe in this thing called yin and yang, I should say. Yin here, we'll cross that out. Okay, and a lot of people think that's Star Wars. Okay, this is Yoda here. A lot of people think the Force in Star Wars is very similar to Taoism. So if you think about the Force, you understand Taoism. Now, they practice humility, they seek simple life and inner peace, and they try and live in harmony with nature. So these are things I already went over. Okay, and these yin and yang represents opposites. So we have like the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. Good over here, evil over here. Okay, and these things are in balance with each other, and you have to find the way, the harmony between these two aspects. Okay, the key is harnessing that inner peace. Okay, so that's Taoism. Here's kind of a chart showing Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. You'll also see Taoism here. Okay, it's spelled with a D. Okay, so if you see it that way, don't panic. Okay, otherwise, if you want to pause and take a look at this, great. I'm not going to go over it. But once again, thanks for watching. And Mr. Nolan has smelly feet.
Standing in line to see the show tonight, and there's a light